皆様、ご起立ください。
Konnichiwa. Hello, Olympics fans and lovers of Shuklistan, and welcome to Keep the Flame Alive, the podcast for fans of the Olympics and Paralympics. I am your host, Jill Jarris, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Alison Brown. Alison, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. I am very confused.
How so?
I've been watching some sports
Mm-hmm.
and I am confused.
How so?
I've been watching skateboarding.
I was kind of hoping you were saying surfing because I watched surfing and I'm confused. What makes you confused about skateboarding?
I do not know why skateboarding is there.
I don't either. And I get it. I get that doing those tricks is difficult. I understand that. But, when I saw Manny Santiago of Puerto Rico wipe out at the very end of his run and then pick up his cell phone and put it back in his pocket, I thought, if you can have your cell phone on your person while you compete, not a sport.
Well, first of all, that was common. Almost all of them had their cell phones on them and were wearing AirPods while they competed.
Oh, so maybe the cell phone was to give them
the cell phone was to get the music, yes. So they'd wipe out and the AirPods would fly out everywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, how is your phone surviving? I don't see an OtterBox on that thing. So I want to know what those phones are wrapped in. So let me go back to the beginning. So first, Marnie McBean sighting at skateboarding.
Nice.
For the early rounds. There were two Canadians there. I don't know how long she stayed because then we saw her again at swimming later.
I think she's getting around because I heard she was at Canoe Slalom as well. But maybe
so
those venues are really close together.
So we're doing a Where's Waldo with Marnie McBean. She's everywhere. She's like a visa everywhere you want to be. And I was watching it with my 18-year-old daughter. You would think, who is the target audience for adding this sport?
Yes.
She hated it. And she hated it because she said they're not respecting the Olympics. They were way too casual, way too much like, as she put it, guys who were in her intro to comm class in college. And she felt like she has seen people she knows do a lot of these things. It didn't feel like she was watching the best in the world compete at the highest level.
Interesting.
And as we were watching the early rounds with the constant wipeouts and the constant misses, I thought to myself, I wonder if the sport is just undercooked. The idea being that the best skateboarders in the world are not in the competition circuit because it doesn't have a long enough history of a competition circuit. So people haven't grown up as skateboarders wanting to be in the Olympics.
Interesting.
So, and the other thing that bothered her was everyone looked and acted and seemed like they were from California. There didn't seem to be a difference in international styles.
Oh.
And the announcers mentioned how all the top skateboarders live in California, no matter what country they represent. So is that a worldwide sport then, if they're all in one state, in one country?
Interesting. That's an excellent point because that's what's fun about the Olympics is seeing different styles in competitions like that where you're putting together a routine or a set of tricks.
Right. The one competitor she did like, and I want to get this name correct, is Yuto Horigami, who did win the men's street style. And because she felt like his style was a little different, lo and behold, he still lives and trains in Japan.
Interesting.
I thought that was so clever that she noticed how they all seemed the same.
That's very interesting. I dipped in and out of skateboarding a little bit. We saw a lot of people wipe out. I did hear that the heat was kind of an issue because I did see somebody wipe out and fall on their back, and then when they got up, just the huge sweat mark left on the pavement. So that I understand maybe that's doing something to their competition. I also didn't understand very much how difficult this stuff was to do.
The American announcers were terrible. They didn't explain anything that was going on. So apparently there is regular stance and goofy stance.
Right. Same.
And all it is basically left-handed, right-handed, but he never explained what that meant. How hard is that? That's the absolute, that's even before, skateboarding 101. That's the intro.
Wow.
And you have to assume that most people who are watching it, if it is the first time it's in the Olympics, have never seen it before
Exactly.
as a competition.
It's kind of announcing 101, take it back, and there are announcers who are very good at educating as you go and not just laying it all on you, and understanding that people may pop into the competition at any given moment in time. So we're going to repeat the same things. And maybe you didn't understand it the first time, but you've seen it 5 times, but now oh, that's what you mean by this. But for this, I wonder if the announcer was so much into the sport, they didn't know how to take a step back and be able to explain it to the novice or brand new watcher.
My other question was, who are all those people in the stands?
Other skateboarders?
There were a lot of people there.
Huh, interesting. I'll take it.
And the last thing that annoyed me was they get do-overs in a way, because if you drop in but don't do anything, you can come out and drop in again.
Oh, right, because you have 45 seconds to do your run. So
Right.
whatever.
It's like a balk.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. I think once you're in, you're in.
Interesting. And you have to make it work somehow?
Absolutely.
Far out. Well, skateboarding so far, well, we'll see what the park competition is like. Also, let's stick with the new sports because I don't get surfing. And I watched a feed with the OBS announcers, and you usually are like, oh, OBS, they know what they're talking about. Again, they knew the sport too well and didn't know to explain it to anybody on the outside. So in the surfing competition, you get there were heats, and I sat through like 2.5 heats of the men's competition, and there's 4 at a time. And the nice thing is that they have different colored jerseys on, so you know who's surfing. And there's something called priority. So whoever has priority, they get to choose the wave, and then they do a number of tricks on that wave until they can't. I don't understand how it's scored. I don't understand what gets counted. I don't understand how you win your heat or move on. I don't understand. As some tricks, I would be like, oh, that looks kind of tough, but I don't know what tricks are tougher than others. It was very bad in helping you understand the difficulty of the sport. And also, one of my other problems with surfing is because they kept talking about the wave conditions, and lo and behold, the typhoon is coming, so that may help the surfing competition actually. But what we see of surfing is always that huge wave with the tunnel created and the surfers going through it. And then I look at these waves that look very small and there's not that tunnel created. And I don't understand how the surfers can do tricks on that. I mean, they do. And some of them looked really impressive or could stay on the wave a long time. And I also didn't know, like, is staying on the wave a long time a good thing? How many tricks do you want? How many tricks do you need to have to do a score? It was very difficult to understand. And also, big outdoor arena, you could have at least thrown in a couple hundred people. And maybe it's too hard to switch on the ticketing thing at this point, or was too hard to switch on ticketing for certain events. But honestly, the venue is very long and you could have had some people there safely. That's my beef.
So I will watch surfing on the regular American TV, see if they do better. Because NBC has been carrying surfing competitions for years. So I would hope that they have kind of experience with it.
Hope so. I want to see what the NBC commentator does and if that is any more helpful than what we got today. All right. Can we just jump to swimming?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is why I love the Olympics.
Oh, last night's swimming was so much fun.
If you haven't gone back, go back and watch. All 4 medal races were fantastic.
Stands are packed with other swimmers.
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. Somebody's got a horn though, and I'll be interested to see if that horn gets banned. Because you're not supposed to blow into anything, so I was laughing about the horn. So we'll have to see if that shows up again tonight.
Team USA has those inflatable clapper things that they pound together, those battle sticks things. So that's fun to watch. That's really great. It's nice that swimming has so many competitors that they can pack the stands and make it seem more festive, but that it's a huge venue. It looks incredible. I told Ben last night, like, I want to go swim there.
Well, the swimmers have said the pool is fast.
Oh, it must have been. Okay, so men's 400 IM. Gold went to Chase Calise from USA. Silver to Jay Litherland of the USA. Bronze to Brendan Smith of Australia. And Jay Litherland came out of almost nowhere to get
Nowhere.
Oh, what a finish on that race. Men's 400 freestyle. This was unbelievable.
The race of the night.
Yes, yes. Because you think, okay, there's Australians in the mix, there's Americans in the mix. Out of lane 8 comes Ahmed Hafnouli from Tunisia, 18 years old, wins the gold. Amazing finish. And then silver went to Jack McLaughlin of Australia, and Kieran Smith won the bronze for the US. But Ahmed was so over the moon with what he accomplished, and just
So I always think it's funny when they interview the swimmers right after the races. So number one, these guys their heads are fuzzy. They've just expanded the most energy they've probably ever done. And he's 18, he's Tunisian, and they're doing an interview in another language. I'm always amazed that they can come out with any coherent statement at all. And then the American interviewer is asking all the really stupid questions, as they do post-race. And, asking, how did you feel? How did you make it happen? And he was just like, I don't know. I am Olympic champion. It was fantastic. Such a wonderful moment. And I do want to mention, because Karen Smith is from a couple towns over from me.
Oh, okay.
So my Instagram has been blowing up with all the local officials, the governor and the senator and the local people and people who know him congratulating him. So that's been kind of fun.
That is awesome.
But it didn't stop.
Then the women had their 400-meter individual medley. Yui Ohashi from Japan just ran away with that race. She was so far ahead at the end. Fantastic win for Japan. I love it when the host country wins. I love it when they win in swimming because they're so much into swimming. That was a great race. And then USA won silver and bronze. Emma Wyant won the silver. Hallie Flickinger won the bronze. But, oh, man.
To me, the other surprise was Katinka Hausha, world record holder, finished 5th.
I know. I was really surprised. I think I had her in my fantasy league. But that was just an amazing race. I was so happy that Japan got the gold in that one.
She was how she was so cute because she was just sort of the way she smiled. It was like, 4-year-old got the win. She was so she didn't know how to react.
Right. It was really sweet. And then we close it out with the women's 4x100 meter freestyle relay. Australia
blew everybody away
with a world record. A fantastic swim from Australia. Then Canada just edged out the USA for the silver. Penny Alexiak anchored that one. Is just like, she is in good form. I'm looking forward to watching her individual races. For the U.S., Simone Manuel got put into the final for the U.S., and the U.S. team started out pretty slowly. So legs 3 and 4 really brought them back into the mix, and that helped them secure that medal. But
Simone looked nice.
It was an exciting race.
And here to me is the best part about the Australian. There are sisters on the team.
Oh,
Kate and Bronte Campbell started and finished. They were 1 and 4 on the team. Imagine their mom right now.
So happy. TKFLASTANI watch. Felicity Passon competed in the heats of the 100-meter backstroke. She finished 7th in her heat with a time of 104.66, which sadly was lower than her entry time. So I'm curious to see how she felt about her race, but she's an Olympian. She competed. Congratulations to you. What else did you watch?
So I am so glad I went on a tirade yesterday telling people to watch softball.
Okay.
Team USA Australia match was the match of the tournament. It was tied at 0 at the end of regulation.
Wow.
The pitcher's duel like you would not believe. We get to the 8th, and Monica Abbott, the USA pitcher, has a little blip. She had pitched the whole match, and she has a little blip, and Australia scores.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, we have to score in the bottom of the 8th, or the match is over. USA comes up, they get a runner on, they get another runner on, and then Amanda Chichester comes up, hits a single, 2-run scores. Walk-off single. It was beautiful. And what I love about this so much is that Monica Abbott is 35. She played in 2008. Amanda Chichester is like 20.
Oh.
So it's like the two heroes of the game are the two generations that are playing on this Team USA softball team.
Oh, that is nice.
It was just, if you love pitching, you have to go back and watch some of this. These two women were unreal. So unreal. And most important for us, TKFLASTANI sighting, Laura Berg at first base coaching.
Oh, yay! Yay! Also in the softball tournament, Japan beat Canada 1-0, and Mexico beat Italy 5-0. That means top of the leaderboard. Japan and the U.S. both have 4 wins and no losses, and they are up next to compete against each other, and that is a must-see match. Canada is 3rd in the standings at 2-2. Australia is 1-3. Mexico's 1-3, and Italy is 0-4. What else you got?
So Luuka Jones did her heats and qualifying for Canoe Slalom.
Mm-hmm.
Looked really good. Ended up standing in 3rd.
Nice.
But she was tied with the 2nd place qualifier, but it goes by the first run if there's a tie.
Oh, okay, that's how it goes. Because I saw the first heat where she had 4 touches during that heat and finished in 10th place. So that was a little tougher bit of a run, but I will go back and try to watch her. Well,
Yeah, that second run, she just came, and it was like, okay, we have Luuka back in that second run. So that was really nice to see. Watched a little bit of men's water polo. So Tony Azevedo.
Oh, how's he
Got
doing?
to listen to him.
Nice.
He was you know what? He announces like the same way he interviewed with us. He was very low key and very calm. He's not Rowdy Gaines. He does not get overly excited, which is probably why he was so good at his sport, but he explains a lot.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay.
Of what's going on, since, I mean, what do I know of water polo? What Tony told me. That's
okay. Right.
So
what did you watch?
men USA versus Japan.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it was not over before we started taping. So when I left, it was tied.
No, well, the U.S. ended up winning 15-13. So that was a close game. Also, in the men's competition, Italy beat South Africa 21-2. Greece over Hungary 10-9. Montenegro beat Australia 15-10. Spain beat Serbia 13-12. And Croatia beat Kazakhstan 23-7. I did go back yesterday and watched the U.S. versus Japan's women's game. Watched a little bit of the second half of it, and it was interesting because the game had started out really close. They were tied about 3-3, and then the U.S. just came out and put the heat on, and that was it. Game over. What else do you have?
And my little note to myself: our favorite old lady gymnast, Oksana Chusovitnia, did not have a good qualifying, so she has not made it to the finals in vault, because she only competes as a vault specialist. But there was a beautiful moment when she was done. it was clear she wasn't going to make the finals. She came up, and everyone who was in the stadium, not a lot of people, granted, but the other gymnasts, the other coaches, gave her a standing ovation, and she started to cry.
That's
And
nice.
she blew a kiss to the camera and said goodbye.
Aw. Artistic gymnastics, I had it on for a little while. It's another one where if you put the stream on, you get all 4 apparatuses at once with no commentary. So it's really nice if you know what's going on in the sport. The sessions I saw were not random teams, but there were like groups of random gymnasts would be in one rotation together because they didn't have a team to qualify for. And then a little bit of ROC, a little bit of China, a little bit of Japan, I think. I did not get to see the USA yet, and that is a must go back and find out what happened because on the team qualifications, ROC is on the top of the leaderboard, followed by the USA, then China, France, Belgium, Great Britain, Italy, and Japan. They all go into the finals qualified to the all around. The top names are Simone Biles, Rebecca Andrade from Brazil, Sunisa Lee from the US, and then 2 from ROC, Angelina Melnikova and Vladislava Yurizova. And many top gymnasts did not make this is one of those where they have that 2 per country rule. And I get it because you want diversity, but in gymnastics, the women's competition especially, you definitely are not getting the best of the best in the finals because so many top gymnasts did not make the all around due to the 2 per country rule. And it's not just the US. ROC had that issue. I believe China had that.
China.
And it's really tough to see that you can do as good as you can and beat other people that are going to be in the final and you don't get that same opportunity. So that's really rough. Don't know what happened to Jordan Childs from the US. She was so strong going into Tokyo, but she finished last of all the US gymnasts in the all around qualifiers, and she finished way low on the standings.
Yeah, I didn't watch the qualifying. I generally don't watch qualifying because I like to be surprised in the finals with people's routines. But what I read was she fell off the beam. She had a major deduction on the bars. She dragged her feet. And she had a major deduction on floor for something technical. So either stepping out of bounds or something in that category because her routine was clean.
Interesting.
Stepping out of bounds was a huge problem for Simone Biles. She did it twice on the floor, once on the vault.
Wow.
Because she's trying these amazing tricks that she doesn't have solid and she can't necessarily control. So you step out of bounds when that happens.
Interesting. Well, I'm very curious. I would like to go back and watch that today and see how things stack up.
Okay, so what have you been up to?
Okay, so I spent a lot of time watching archery, which I could only stay up so long, and what I could not stay awake for was the medal matches. And I've seen highlights of them, but I need to go back and watch because the quarterfinals and semifinals were so interesting. And Germany was cruising to get into the finals match. In the semifinals, they were up against ROC, and in set 2, it's the last arrow of set 2, and the announcer goes, she needs a 6 to win. And this is Lisa Unruh is shooting, and she is a silver medalist from Rio. And all she needs is a 6, and then Germany kind of ties up the whole match. She shot a 2. I know. Even it was just like, how did this happen? Just something was off on that arrow. And then ROC came back and they won to go to the gold medal match. But there they had to face Korea, and Korea nicely did what they came there to do and beat them solidly. And Korea's won every women's team gold medal in archery since the introduction of the sport in '88. So gold to Korea, silver to ROC, bronze to Germany. Archery's been a super interesting tournament to watch, so I would not miss that if I were you. Oh, we watched boxing this morning. TKFLASTANI Ginny Fuchs is competing. She was in the round of 32 in the flyweight category, and she beat Solianova from ROC on decision, 3-2. So it was a split decision, but she pulled it out. She looked pretty good. She was able to duck really well, and she would duck and kind of come in and punch, and the ROC athlete did not know what to do with that sometimes. So very happy. Boxing venue. We talk about how the Japanese think of all these tiny details. You know how in boxing, in between rounds, they bring out the stool and put it down in the corner for everyone to sit on?
Yes.
Okay, they don't have stools. They have a it's not a chair, it's like the top of the stool is attached to a metal pole and it swings in between the ropes and then they swing it back out. It is so cool.
How has nobody thought of that before?
No.
It's so obvious.
Right? Oh, also one of the other matches we saw was Mandy Buchholz from Canada, who, if you know her story, she was trying to qualify and was planning on going to the last Olympic qualifier, and then that qualifier got canceled due to the pandemic. And then they said, for the boxing tournament, they said, well, we'll take your top 3 decisions from 2018, 2019, and that will determine who goes. The problem was at that time, Mandy Buchholz was busy having and raising a baby. So she did not have enough decisions. And they said, well, sorry, Charlie. So she appealed. She won the appeal and she competed today. She did not win.
Oh,
No.
that's too bad.
And I think that's it. That's all I got. I feel woefully behind. I feel like I've caught a little bit of weightlifting. Like I'm catching up on weightlifting and I really want to watch some weightlifting, but I'm catching up on that. Also, I did catch up on men's 10-meter air pistol. Alison, I found our sport. Air pistol showed me that there are all body types in the event, and I think maybe we've got a chance.
Softball will also show you that in the best way.
It really does. I've noticed that. I'm like, wow, there's some really strong girls and sturdily built girls that just there's different muscle types.
Right, and then there's Monica Abbott, who is 6'3".
Mhm.
What was that pitcher who they called the big unit? Remember him from,
Mm,
like, the 90s?
mm-mm.
Well, she's the softball equivalent because she's just this long string of it, and then there are these tiny little pocket princesses
Mhm.
who are, like, 5'3" and tiny, and they just run really fast.
Mhm. It's
It's
really
just
interesting, and how
I have totally become a softball convert, and I will be fighting to keep the sport in. It needs to be there.
quick rundown of the other action today. Women's 3x3 basketball on the women's side. Japan beat Mongolia 19-10. Italy beat Romania 22-14. ROC beat Mongolia 21-5. China beat Italy 22-13. US beat Romania 22-11. Japan beat France 19-15, which kind of want to go see that. China beat France 20-13, and the US beat ROC 20-16. The US is at the top of the pool, 4-0. ROC, Japan, China all are sitting at 3-1. Italy is 2-2. France is 1-3. Romania and Mongolia have yet to win a game. On the men's side, Belgium beat ROC 21-16. Serbia beat Poland 15-12. Latvia eked out a win over China 18-17. Want to go back and watch that. Poland beat ROC 21-16. Another game I want to go back and see. Netherlands beat Japan 21-20. That sounds like a good game.
But when you fall behind, you're never gonna catch up.
No. Well,
There's only so many hours in the day.
Netherlands beats China 21-18 and Latvia over Japan 21-18. Men's pool, Serbia is at the top, 4 wins, 0 losses. Sitting at 3-1 are Latvia and Netherlands. Belgium and Poland are 2-2. Japan and ROC are 1-3, and China is 0-4. In men's basketball action, the Czech Republic beat Iran 84-78. Italy beat Germany 92-82. Australia beat Nigeria 84-67. And France beat the US 83-76. And we've had a lot of media in the US talking about Team USA in their pre-Tokyo games that they played and did not do well. They lost to Nigeria, they lost to Australia, and I'm interested to see how this tournament ends up for them. Cycling and the road race. The women had their road race today. Austrian Anna Kiesenhofer won gold. Anna Mick van Vleuten from the Netherlands got silver. And Elisa Longo Borghini from Italy got the bronze.
That has to be the most Austrian, Dutch, and Italian names I have ever heard. That is a fantastic podium.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a cartoon podium with those names. That was great.
Diving has started, so women's synchronized 3-meter springboard happened. Gold went to China, Shi Ting Mao and Wang Han. Silver went to Canada, Jennifer Abel and Melissa Citrini Bolu. And Germany's Elena Henschel and Tina Punzel won the bronze. Dressage action is going on in equestrian, and we're getting close to the end of the that was day 2 of individual, and I see, like, I just looked at the leaderboard and like, where's Charlotte Dujardin, because she is amazing and she is qualified further onward, so that is good to know. And we'll start watching that soon. Women fencing, women's foil. Lee Kiefer of the U.S. won the first foil medal in U.S. women's history, and it's gold, so good for, that's a big moment for USA fencing. Ina Derglazova from the ROC won silver, and Larissa Korobonikova from ROC won the bronze. In men's epee, Romain Canon from France won gold. Gergely Siklosi from Hungary won the silver, and Igor Ryzlin from Ukraine won bronze. Yeah, so football, hockey, handball, all going on. Judo, Japan cleaned up on both the men's and the women's sides. Women's 52 kilograms. Abe Yuta from Japan won gold. Amandine Bouchard from France won silver. Giuffrida from Italy and Chelsea Giles from Great Britain won the bronze. On the men's side, Abe Hitsumi from Japan won gold. I kind of wonder if they're related. Vaja Gelashvili from Georgia won the silver. And An Baul from Korea and Daniel Cargnin from Brazil won the bronze. That's men's 68 kilograms. We'll talk shooting tomorrow because I think the women had the 10-meter air pistol and men had the 10-meter air rifle. Oh, wait. Important for us. William Shaner from U.S. won the gold for the 10-meter air rifle. So that was good for the U.S. Taekwondo, women's 57 kilograms. Anastasia Zolotic from the U.S. won gold. Tatiana Menina from ROC won silver. Bronzes went to Lo Chiatling from Chinese Taipei and Hatis Kubra Iglun from Turkey. Men's 68 victory. Ulubeg Rashidov from Uzbekistan won the gold. Bradley Sinden from Great Britain won the silver. Xiao Zhuai from China and Resber Hakan from Turkey won the bronze.
Before you go on from Taekwondo, I heard from film buff Fran, who said the American announcers for Taekwondo are fantastic.
Oh, okay. Turn that on.
So something to check out.
Yeah, and this was this women's category was the category that British Taekwondo Jade Jones was in, and she got out in the round of 16. So also something to go back and watch is her match.
Beat by an athlete from the refugee team.
Really?
Yes. But the athlete, and now I got to get her name, Kimia Alzadeh Zanouzi from the refugee team beat her. And she formerly competed for Iran.
Okay.
And I got the impression that she has a medal. So you've got a former gold medal and bronze medalist competing pretty early in the tournament.
Wow, that's just how
that's just how it panned out. So it was a surprise that Jade Jones lost, but it wasn't a surprise that this was a tight match.
Okay. Interesting. From the tennis tournament, Ashley Barty from Australia, who just won Wimbledon, lost. She was upset by Sarah Sorribes Tormo, and Naomi Osaka beat Zheng Zaizai in her first match as well. And everything else is more pool action, and we'll keep an eye on some of these team tournaments more as we get further along in the games. Do we have Shukhlastanis to watch for tomorrow?
We do. Again, Team USA softball will be playing Japan. And if you're in the USA, that'll be on Sunday night, but it's really Monday morning. I'm so confused as to what day we're in. Maggie Shea and Stephanie Roble will be beginning prelims for sailing. And Kelly Clays and Sarah Sponsel have their first match. And again, that will be, if you're in the US, on Sunday night, but it's actually Monday morning, against the Latvian team of Granchenka and Gordina.
Excellent. Excellent. Little bit of news from opening ceremony.
I love this.
Opening ceremony stuff. So Christian Klaue, who does corporate communications and public affairs for the IOCs, said the live broadcast of the opening ceremony was the most watched television broadcast in Japan in the last 10 years. But in the US, it was the smallest television audience for the event in the last 33 years. The streaming audience was up, but numbers are still down. So that is really interesting. Many NBC had reported their data, so that's how those numbers shake out. I think maybe people turned off their TV at T-Bach's speech because the Japan News reported that T-Bach spoke for 13 minutes, which was twice as long as Seiko Hashimoto spoke.
Take that, Uncle Yoshi, who complained about how women talk too long.
Right, right. I'd like to take a minute to thank our Patreon patrons. They help keep our flame alive with their ongoing contributions. If you would like to support the show, you can do that with an ongoing contribution at patreon.com/flamealivepod. We also have a Kickstarter to help fund our on-the-ground coverage in Beijing. You can find that on kickstarter.com/profile/flamealivepod/created, and you'll find the Beijing one. But going for a big goal, we really need your support. Share that with your family and friends, please. And if this show means something to you, please help support it in some way. So, Alison, let's say sayonara to day 3.
I'm ready. I got my tea.
So, as we go out to music by Mercury Sunset, thank you so much for listening, and until tomorrow, keep the flame alive.